Well, you seem like a very nice audience tonight. I'm wondering, in case I break into some Spanish or French, may I use the familiar two form with you people instead of usted? Because I think usted is going to be a little too formal for this crowd. I feel already I've established the kind of rapport that I can jump into the two form with you. That quickly. I'm taking a two liberty with you. I'm going to use the two form, and that's it. You can't talk me out of it. You know, Caesar used the two form with Brutus even after Brutus stabbed him. He said et tu Brute, and I think that's a little too informal when someone's trying to assassinate you. I think at that point, perhaps instead, he would have been better off. But that's Caesar. That's crazy, wacky, mixed up Julius Caesar.
You're listening to LeaguePodcast Curbcast. The pilot, Larry David, Curb Your Enthusiasm. The episode 1999. I know it's 27 years old, I guess. The episode, Larry David teaches us an important lesson. Larry is usually right. He's just terrible at being right in public. Sorry, that was a joke written for me by ChatGPT, but I wanted to use it anyway. But here we are.
Well, it is. Here we are, and you might be also, we're putting our television episodes, maybe just this one, but hopefully any of our television episodes, we're also turning the cameras on and putting on YouTube.
Yeah.
And wherever you get your video podcasts.
Yeah. Hashtag wherever you get your video podcast. Welcome back.
So we're doing it a little bit different. Yeah. You know, like we've been podcasting and we've done plenty of videos together too, but like we've been podcasting since 2009.
Yeah.
So we're used to sort of doing it a different way. Like having the cameras on isn't that different, but it is still different because we're used to like, who knows what the other people are doing. We've just been talking like old school podcasters into our microphones for 15 years. You know?
I know.
Longer.
Old school is right. We are old school. But this is different though for me. This is we did not all the Curb, because Curbcast is on. It is actually 25 years old. If you go to HBO Max, they have one.
A weird schedule. It's a weird schedule.
I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. They just did it as many, whenever they wanted. It's
whenever they wanted. Then it like kind of, but I mean, but 25 years, one pilot, they call it a TV movie, which is the thing that we're watching now. So, or I guess you'd call it a special, and it is the pilot, but those 10 seasons were over the course of 25 years. Which is
kind of weird.
Like, Simpsons has been on a long time. Can like go on the whole time.
Well, it was like whenever Larry had a few ideas, or something would happen in the world, even like the Atlanta incident of the last season where he was arrested.
Yeah, like he was like
for giving water to the woman in line.
He did that a couple times.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he ever closed the door, like, officially, until he finally was like, you know what, I think we're good.
Right.
But,
all right.
Good.
It's like, all right.
But this one, so I had never watched this, as we were saying, off air.
Oh, so
I don't know why.
I think
I started to watch it once, and I was just like, I don't know. It's not Curb. Like, it's not the show beginning.
It's not. The
seeds are there for sure, but it's not. It's more like what it said to me was like, this is what Seinfeld, the original concept of Seinfeld, or Larry's original concept of Seinfeld, where it's a stand-up comedian and like where he gets his material and how his life like influences the material or whatever. And that's what the concept of Seinfeld was.
And that it's a show about nothing.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a show about nothing.
But it's not kind of like, you know what I mean? Like without the network executives like stopping things, or you know what I mean? Like it's Seinfeld without the NBC executives being like, well, you can't say that, or can you not do that so much or whatever. This is
Yeah.
Larry unleashed, basically,
And though this is a production that is, and it's a format that we're, what we do in the shadows.
Yeah,
like
right?
this pilot is mockumentary style. It's like The Office.
Yeah, crazy, right? Everything is everything.
and
Every show basically now is like this sort of style. I feel it.
everything is like that now. Whereas like Seinfeld was whatever you call it, like 4-camera in studio audience, like shoot, like I Love Lucy.
Right.
Like same thing. This is like how they do stuff now, like you said, like most TV is like this.
I mean, it's crazy.
Almost,
but without, I feel like Larry had to do Seinfeld first and then evolve into this, and he didn't even, they brought him back at the end of Seinfeld, but he had missed a few seasons. And, but at the beginning, this is what it was supposed to be. And then now here we are. Like, it's kind of cool. This is like the evolution. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. And the pilot isn't entirely unfamiliar to what the show becomes, except there's a couple of scenes that are like interviews with Jason Alexander and Jerry, like talking about Larry David, the actual person. And then, like, I guess what we know by the end of season 10 and interviews and stuff with Larry is that, like, Larry David on the show is Larry David as a personality, but like with it turned up, like it's an exaggerated version of his real life. But this one is like really more like closer to like getting that Larry to be the Larry that we know.
Well, we used to talk about, I mean, go back and listen to our Curbcast episodes, but there was TV Larry and sometimes whatever, like real Larry. But a lot of this, you're right. I think it's a little blurred, like which one is which. There's a couple things we'll get there, but so basically the premise of this is Larry wants to go back into stand-up, or Jeff thinks Jeff is his agent. But he's Jeff Garland.
Right.
He's not Jeff Green. Right? I don't think they call him Jeff Green. Do they?
I think he's Jeff Green I think he starts this with his character name.
I didn't really
Jeff Green, but the actual concept of this pilot, I think, actually did come from Jeff Garland, who maybe was managing Larry at the time, to do this. So it's like taking real life and it's just like, is HBO going to even do this? And they're like, why wouldn't they take a shot on the guy that did Seinfeld in 1999?
Right. Well, Seinfeld had just
let's
Seinfeld just ended in 1998, so he was still pretty right there.
Right.
But I guess it is, calling it meta, it doesn't even really begin to describe it, because so Jeff has this idea that Larry is going to do stand-up, which he hasn't done in years. And we want to follow him as he prepares to, get there, and also like record a special.
Right. Do an hour.
For HBO.
Yeah.
And they even show him going to HBO offices and everything like that. There's sort of a funny thing. It sort of just establishes the tone that we're looking for when they're walking down the hall, and there's like a black guy that passes them, and he says, "I always nod at black people."
This is my favorite part of so now we're going to do our regular League podcast movie format, Curbcast. Like, now we're just going to get into the episode. This is different because the cameras are on, but this is going to be awesome because I'm so psyched in a way that you've never seen this before, because I've seen it a bunch of times. So I was just watching as a refresher. No, you did it now before we do the
I should have. I don't know. I feel like a fake fan, but I'm not going to go beat. We're not going to go beat for beat.
No.
But that part is really funny because I think.
Well, we should go chronologically.
Right. We'll go chronologically. So, yes, but that part sets the tone for the whole thing. Because if you don't know what kind of person Larry David is, which if you watch Seinfeld, you kind of get it. But because he says he nods at black people because he wants them to know that he's okay. Like he's not one of them, you know. Like,
yeah, he's one of the good
he's
ones.
one of the good ones.
He's one of the good
and it's
ones.
just like it's this is who Larry is, you know. Like he's like this is how he thinks.
And it's you're right. It's like the first
it's like the first real joke
dialogue in the show too. And even just like right at the very beginning, like they go in, they sit down, they kind of like break the fourth wall with the camera crew that's there following them as they get to the HBO office, and they're sitting on the couch, and then it's a show about nothing. Larry goes to Jeff, "Do you want some gum?" And then Jeff's like, "Not much of a gum guy." And then Larry's like, "Are you getting this? This is gold, right? This is why these people are following you around."
Doesn't get it.
And they introduce the concept like,
he doesn't know why people want to follow him around. There's nothing. They're not going to get anything good. But I mean, this is what it's going to happen. So like, HBO is all on board. They're going to do it. They're going to have a special. And Larry's like, okay. So he meets with a couple of comedians. I don't even know who these people are. I don't even know these comedians. I don't even remember who they are. But they basically say stand up is all dick jokes now. Like you shouldn't go back to stand up now. But there's a whole. I like the situation really because Caroline Ray, who I do know, comes in and she says hi to Larry, and he introduces her as Carolyn, and she's like, "Oh, it's Caroline," but okay. And then he's like, "Why is everybody so touchy about their names?" Which is funny because he's the touchy one, but it's fine. It's a weird thing for her to correct him on.
Well, it's
sure.
It is, but also like just as I said with the gum and all the other things, these are how the show is written from here till the end of time, till the end of season 10. Like, these are the kinds of things, like somebody's upset with Larry because he didn't do this proper thing and he won't apologize for it. Like, it's all just happening like exactly how it will happen for the next 25
No, you're right. You're right. And like, every episode had some of these little bits, and sometimes it would meld into the main story and sometimes it wouldn't, but sometimes it was just Larry wanted to get his thoughts out there, I think. But the one thing I did so Cheryl Hines is here. It's like she was on the main show. And their chemistry was always really good. And I know I have feelings on Cheryl Hines now because of who she's married to, but what are you going to do? But she's huge.
It's post-Curb. Curb isn't on anymore. It doesn't
affect my enjoyment of the show,
but yeah, they're really good in like more, probably even in this pilot, a little more sweet and affectionate toward each other than they even are in like the first season.
Right.
Like it's like very much like they're figuring it out.
But it's funny. There's this is a thing that they never really, because none of the Seinfeld people were married, so they never really got into the weeds on, like sort of marriage and how it works sometimes, but there's a great, so the guy.
That's an interesting observation. I hadn't thought about
this
that.
Guy who like sees Larry in the hallway at HBO and he's like, "Hey, I'm trying to get a job at Warner Brothers. This guy or whatever."
His name is Jeff.
Oh, yeah. You're right.
Yeah.
So he's like, "Can you give him a call?" And he's like, "Oh, well, sure." But he doesn't really. As the guy leaves, he's like, "Oh, if that elevator had come 15 seconds earlier, we would have been out of here." Who doesn't want to do that?
And the whole little side thing with this kid too is he's like, Jeff is like, yeah, why would you? And they're filming this show on HBO, the pilot that like literally are doing this for them. But then the conceit of this is that they're going to make a special for him. But like even Jeff is like, yeah, why would you want to work at this hellhole HBO? And the other Jeff is like, yeah, I know, right? I mean, it's just awful. And like just the timing of the jokes is like, it's a pilot, but it's also the timing of like somebody he runs into at the country club in like season 7, just like, just like they tie it's all just like the same kind of humor. Larry's scripted, but improvise on top of that. Like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to say this, and then go with it a little bit and be like, yeah, I know this sucks. I get me out of here. Just working the desk,
Yeah.
you know?
No, it is funny. Just, HBO taking jabs at itself essentially, but so they do this a couple times in this because of the format of the show. It's just Larry on the phone, but you don't see or hear what the other person is saying because of it's a documentary,
Right.
And so the guy answers the phone and he says, "Oh, this is Larry David, co-creator of Seinfeld." And then Larry just says, "Oh, really? Oh, that's a weird thing to say." So apparently the guy never watched it or whatever. And then they get into this kind of like fight, not like a fight, but Larry's just like, "Why would you say that? Like, even if you didn't like it, you don't have to say that." So he never puts
Yeah, he says he was never a fan. He never didn't. He's kind of like a "Who are you?" And he's like, "I'm Larry David. I co-creator of Seinfeld." And then so he's trying to give this kid a job recommendation, but it's already falling flat with the guy that he's talking to because the other guy doesn't like Seinfeld or whatever. So he ends up insulting.
So then the part that I was getting to with him and Cheryl, because he goes home and he tells Cheryl this story, and she's like, "What are you going to do? You never," he's like, you going to write a letter or something? And he's like, "Yeah, dear prick," is what he was going to say. Crack.
I didn't know you were such a prick.
So anyways, we find out that Cheryl doesn't really like Jeff, and it just rubs her the wrong way. It's kind of like, oh, interesting, because I don't think that ever came up in the rest of the rest of Curb.
I think they gave that to Susie.
Yeah, because there's no Susie. They mention that he's married, but they know you don't. There's no Susie in this, which is definitely too bad because she's amazing. But
and even if you look at Jeff and Larry's relationship, there's the thing that happens in his office with the phone and the 1 second thing, which I'll just talk about real quick. But with Cheryl, she's just like Cheryl loves Larry and she doesn't want Jeff to take advantage of him. They don't all know each other like they do when they're in season 3. Then they're all close friends, then all hang out together and stuff. And she's just like, "Man, I don't really know about this Jeff guy. I don't really trust him," kind of. Which even in this episode, you'll see why. But I don't really trust him to take care of him. But Larry shows up at Jeff's office to explain this Michigas with the job recommendation guy. But Jeff is on the phone, and Larry walks into his office, and I mean, you wouldn't if I walked in your office, you came into my office, I was on the phone and just sit there and look at your phone or whatever until you're ready to go. But Jeff's on the phone with someone, and then Larry's kind of doing "What the hell? What you're not recognizing me?" And then they do a very Curb thing when Jeff cuts off the phone. He's like, "Why can't you do this?" Larry's like, "Why can't you do this?
Hold up
Why can't you just put your finger up?"
Just acknowledge.
And he's like, "Well, then the person and say, just 1 minute. And it's like, "Well, I'm giving my full attention to you. You're in my office. I don't want to signal to the person on the phone that I'm not giving them the first attention." He's like, "You don't have to say anything." Very Larry David. You don't have to say anything. You just go like this. This is what I do. And then he acts it all out. It's so funny.
This is one of those things too. Is Larry right in this situation? And of course back then you couldn't just I'm gonna dick around on my phone while you finish your call. You know what I mean?
It's I think that you're right, in the fact that in the 90s, phone etiquette, regular people etiquette was way more important. Someone's coming into your office, this is a funny bit, a funny joke that you wrote into the thing, but I think that you're right. Larry probably was a little right. But I know I wouldn't personally be offended if my best buddy was on the phone and making me wait. I know that he's going to be on the phone eventually.
Right.
You know what I mean? But you're right. it is kind of it's just an etiquette thing. Why didn't you do this?
It's a different time, like we say, and like maybe was Larry. Maybe he felt a little awkward, like he didn't. I know sometimes I don't want to be.
He didn't know what to do.
And I don't want to be
He's
in the
like,
room when someone else is having a phone conversation. I'd rather just go out, wait in the other room or something. You know, you come out when you're done. Right. I don't know. But I think Larry. I'm not saying he needed to bring it up.
You're right. Like Larry's maybe right.
Larry, this is something, you know, we do sometimes. Larry's right, or I agree with Larry.
It made it to the show, made it to the edit, but I also think that it could maybe have been a little bit of improv, like Larry goes, whatever the script looks like, Larry goes to Jeff's office to explain the thing about Caroline, and when Jeff gets off the phone, that's when he explains, I got a phone call from Caroline Rhea. She's really upset. Called her Caroline.
He didn't say bye.
And then, he's like, you didn't say bye. Yeah. And it's like, Larry's like, Caroline, and we know Caroline. We know Caroline.
Yeah.
And we also are 2026. Like, we want to call people by their right pronouns and stuff like that. So a little bit, it's like, Larry's wrong about the name thing. Yeah. But he doesn't want to apologize.
Well,
and he didn't say goodbye and like the whole thing. And Jeff's in the middle of it, of course. Right.
Well, I like it. He said, you can call me Leary. I don't care. I think he's obviously that's ridiculous, but he's trying to make a point like, don't be so touchy. It's not even so much. Yeah, he got her name wrong, but is it worth mentioning? You know what I mean? Is it worth making a thing about it? Like, probably not. I think that's kind of where
but because he's Larry, he has to take her making a thing out of it and make a thing out of that. It's like always like snowballing.
It becomes many things. But like, it's just. But this is what Curb is and was, So there's a funny part though after this where they show Larry doing stand up as like sort of like they did in the very first few Seinfelds where they would intercut him doing his act, and it would kind of relate to the show. But there's this great one here where he says, he tells the audience, I feel like I feel very connected to you. If I were speaking in French or Spanish, I would use the to form, which I thought was really funny. And he said that. I don't know if you remember the episode where he was handing out tips to all his like people. And like he went to his gardener and he said and she said, she said something to him in Spanish. She said, you can use the to form with me. I feel like,
I do remember that. Now
to him, that was like this great, this is like great thing. Nobody else would care.
Just something that he thinks
about. He's like, we're on a friendly, kind of basis here. You can use the to form. So I love that they brought that back. A few years, I don't even remember what season it was, but it was that's a classic episode. If you're looking at just like, let me pick up a Curb somewhere, that one's really funny. If you can find, I don't remember what it was, a Christmas episode, and it was classic. But he used the to form, and he also, I think, like, I don't remember what happened.
The stand up is the stand up is like in preparation for his special, so he's like. He doesn't even play like the comedy clubs really. He's like playing at like a restaurant and like some weird places. And he is in the club one time, and then I think that's like when like Cheryl like is there with them, like supporting him, and telling him that he said pussy.
She has notes. Yeah, she's like, he said pussy a lot. Then Jeff comes with she already doesn't like him, and he's like, you didn't use pussy enough, like. He's like, all right, well, I gotta go. Like she just leaves. Doesn't want to spend any time with Jeff.
And Jeff's like, she doesn't like me.
Yeah. So
and Caroline Rhea shows up too.
I know. She's gonna give him shit about it too.
At the exit. Like the whole thing over and over again about you didn't say goodbye at the restaurant and all that stuff.
So they go back to HBO at one point too, and they're talking about what the set will look like for the show, because I thought this was a funny scene that I wanted to talk about. So like this woman has this crazy concept.
this is I just want to say this is a funny scene, and also like a building block of like how Larry interacts with people and how they write scenes and because a lot of times the other actors really they have to play a straight man or person to Larry's thing, or they have to like react how the character would react. And so, yeah, she shows this really elaborate theater in the round stage set. And first of all, he's like showing like the seating chart for this 3,000 people.
Yeah, it's a lot for stand-up, right?
And he's like, this is like too. It's like I mean, the Wilbur is like almost 2,000. Trolley the same. The 3,000 more than that.
A lot.
So it's a lot of it. He's like, look at how are we going to fill these seats? And it's like, then there's an industry term that they use, which is paper. Like, well, we'll paper the seats, and that.
I know all about. Paper.
Yeah, you give out tickets to whoever. Yeah, you know all about it. But in case the listeners don't, well, papers. What do you mean? So it's fixed, and then they start doing a little improv, and then like the other actors say, well, we pay them $10 a head, and then like we'll get some Marines, and then like make sure you don't ask too many old people because they tend to talk.
They can't hear it, so like they're asking you, what did you say? And whatever. Yeah. Didn't they? Yeah, I forget some of the people they said they get to paper it, but it was ridiculous. And so Larry's just like, what? Why?
It was really funny.
Why would we put it in a place that you have to paper? Let's just put it in a smaller venue. But it's just, you're right. This is the beginning of how this thing is going to go. But yeah, she's got this huge thing. And it's like it's like the Seinfeld apartment, and then it spins around.
It's a diorama.
Yeah, and it's backstage because Larry was behind the scenes. And like that's where he would come out and do the stand up there, and he was just like, I don't like it. And I don't know, it's just one of those things. Like maybe Larry, I don't know if Larry's right. I mean, whatever, he doesn't like it, whatever. But I don't know if he's right on this one.
Well, so part of this was we just watched the new Spinal Tap. Oh, and it's not great, but it's fun. It's decent. It's funny. It's like the Naked Gun movie. Yeah. It's like it's not the best movie, but it was fun to watch. Like why not? I mean, they don't make many comedies. You gotta watch them. You know what I mean? So those are at least trusted brands. Like it was. Yeah, I'd give them both like a B. But I think it was funny. But like so that was very much giving off the vibes of like the Spinal Tap. Stonehenge thing. It was like here's like Larry. It's like a little cutout again.
Oh, I know.
And stuff. And then he rejects the idea. And the way I say it's like this scene in particular is like the seeds of what happens later is like that person has to be like, oh no, that's you've seen this scene 150 times in Curb from here on out. Like, no, that's fine, Larry. No, it's I got something else to show you, and like she has to be like, no, don't worry about that. And people are improvising like we already have a whole program based on this, and what do you mean you don't like it? And then she brings out that's just a stage in this little cutout of Larry's head,
looks
like
kind of like
like a comic.
Do you remember
Mort Drucker, like Mad Magazine?
There was oops, sorry. There was an episode where the guy was drawing like Jewish comics, or maybe it was a woman. It was like a woman. This artist was like drawing all these pictures of the Jewish comics or something, and Larry was in it, and he went to see it, and he was like, "What the hell is this?" And that's what it reminded me of. I don't remember if it looked anything like similar to this, but that's what it was. It was like a Mad Magazine, like of his face.
Mad Magazine, like cartoon, and then like the same girl that just showed him this big theater in the round thing with the Seinfeld set, like is like, well, it's just now we're just looking at red. She goes, you can just take this off, pulls the little head down off of the thing, and now it's just a regular stage with red curtains, like a regular stage, and he's like, "Yo, I kind of like this. I kind of like this." And like Larry's saying to Jeff, he's like, "If I if you have a Smith and Wesson on you right now, just pull it out and shoot me in the head because I do not want to look like that guy. They're like, who's this? They're actually like, who's this? Who's that supposed to be? Really good.
I know. I mean, Larry's old school. He wants just a curtain and whatever. But I don't know. I mean, we'll get there. But yeah, these are the seeds. But there is a funny thing next. So they put this guy to sort of from HBO who like sort of shadows him around because he's doing more clubs and stuff. He's going to New York. He's doing LA and whatever to get ready.
Mm-hmm.
And this guy is so funny. So they're in like a limo or whatever, going to like the gig or whatever, wherever they're going. And this guy is talking about, like Molly Shannon, this Molly Shannon thing. Do you know where he says something? They mention her for whatever reason. And he says, I heard she fucked 2 guys to death. And Larry's like, what? Yeah. She was this guy who he was like a sound guy on SNL and they were like, having sex. He had a heart attack. And then after a period of mourning, she found there was another guy working costumes and same thing. Fucked him. And so apparently Larry was on a plane with Molly Shannon. They just happened to be sitting next to each other. And he's like, hey, I want to do this joke in this thing I'm doing, and I want to make it about you. Are you okay? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. What are you going to say? And there were a couple things that she was like, nah, I don't like that. I don't like that. And when he brought up the fucking guys at death thing, she's like, yes, that's the one. So Molly Shannon 100% approved this message. So I loved it.
I was wondering about it because it seemed very specific, and I had to be like, when was she on SNL? I had to look it up. And I was like, oh,
in the 90s, right?
Or
the mid-90s, probably.
Matches up, yeah, totally. But yeah, that's a good knowledge drop, I gotta say.
I looked it up because I was like, there's no way that's true, right? I mean, I suppose anything's possible, but that would be a weird thing. But it's not true. But she did approve them using her name in that story and whatever. So she's a funny, funny person. So she could fuck me to death anytime. No, just kidding. Just kidding. But so they have this funny thing. So I don't even, this is the sort of the crux, or not the crux, but one of the things that would be, if this were a regular Curb, this would be the A story. Because they run into, Jeff has a mistress, right? He's got this young blonde woman. And Jeff had women throughout the length of Curb.
So of course he did.
Outside of his marriage, let's just say. So they're hanging out and whatever. They go to breakfast and then he's like, why did you invite her to breakfast? I wouldn't have come.
Well, then Larry does. I think it's like they were in LA and then they flew to New York for Larry to run through some sets in New York. And Jeff's with them, and then HBO guys with them. And so, Jeff has this side piece that's his New York side piece.
So,
and she shows up after Larry's set, and they're like, "Oh," Larry's kind of like, "Who is this chick? What's going on?" And Jeff's like, "Hey, baby, you want to go dancing or something? Get something to eat?" And then the girl is like, "Do you want to come, Larry?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm just gonna go to the hotel."
But so then the next morning they go out to breakfast and she's there and he's like, if I had known you were going to invite her, I wouldn't have come. I just would have got I don't want to be in that, So anyways, whatever the third wheel. So then Jeff's like, oh, I got to go to MTV and I got some meetings and he's like, oh, I'm going to go for a walk in the park. Larry has nothing to do. He just says, I'm going to go for a walk in the park. And he's like, oh, and he tells his girl, why don't you go with him? Because he's going your way or whatever she's doing. And Larry's like, okay. Right. You know what I mean? But this seems like something, this is definitely Larry is right.
This is a very Curb.
I know, because now he has to, he has to hang out with this woman. He doesn't know her for one thing. And it's very awkward,
Yeah.
But anyway, so they're walking through the park and he runs into someone he knows, this woman who's just jogging through the park, and she's like, "Oh, hey, how's it going?" And he has to like, he very badly like has to be like, "Oh, this is just a friend of a friend." You know what I mean? Like he's making his excuses are
because he knows this girl knows his wife.
She's like, "Oh, how's Cheryl?"
He knows that.
Whatever. Yeah. So he's like, just a friend of a friend of a friend.
Yeah. Friend of a friend of a friend. We had breakfast and I'm with her.
We were just talking.
He like over explains it.
He really does. He can't just be like, "Oh, this is whatever her name is." I don't know. But
yeah, because he doesn't want to call out Jeff.
Right. Well, that's the other thing that happens. Like, we see that later too. But then they cut to him doing stand-up, and he does a joke about Clinton. And he says, "If I was going to cheat on my wife, this would be the time to do it because she was a staunch supporter of Bill Clinton," which is a funny joke. But yeah, like it's like, what can you say? You were such a supporter of Clinton. But then so it is kind of like the act mirroring life a little bit too, because he's talking about like whatever.
Right.
But I do love he makes a joke about like this guy thought he was going to get a blowjob from a Jew and get away with it. I thought that was a fun. So
his stand-up bits are so good because even now, like, I mean, you can like find some stand-up of Larry's online, like. It exists, or some in like the Seinfeld, or maybe it wasn't even Seinfeld. In some documentaries I've seen, like short clips, or like they have like a picture of him and like Ken Burns, like audio of his sets or whatever. But like, I mean, that's where he started. He started as that comedian, and he was a brilliant writer and like producer, and came up with this and everything, which is like. Ultimately, like the best thing he ever did, his life's work, his legacy, his Curb Your Enthusiasm. But like, he's a comedian. He's a stand-up guy, just like
exactly. A lot of these guys, that's where they got their start, and that's kind of their like, or like even like a Steve Martin or something. You know what I mean? Like he was brilliant stand-up, just decided I can't do it anymore, and like it is interesting. Maybe I don't know. You should take a few notes from LD here, if you want to do more stand-up.
I did like his Hitler joke. But he's like, he had anything to do with magicians.
Yeah.
And he has a really good Hitler. I thought his impression was really awesome and cartoony and just fucking awesome. And even like when he does the, whenever he does like the Hitler humor, it's very like Mel Brooks kind of style, like it's so fun.
Yeah, I feel like he was, he doesn't shy away from Hitler stuff. But so then he doesn't, whatever. He's like I think as a Jewish guy, he feels like he can do that. It's he massacred 6 million. It might be.
It's not like. He doesn't even like through the course of the whole series, like it's not a ton of stuff, but it's like the little boy with the swastika thing, like it's like
I love that kid.
It's like
I love that kid.
It's just like a few times some really funny fucking shit, like over the course of the whole thing.
Yeah, it's great, So yeah, now we have another one of those phone calls, which is just hilarious because he calls Cheryl and she's not there. He's like, "Oh, I don't know where you are," and he rambles on and on about, I don't know if you heard anything, but he doesn't say anything. But he's like, "I was with someone, and if you heard anything, yeah." And he's like, and she's crazy, like whatever their friend who they read into, and he's like, "Oh, she's crazy," so or whatever. It's just like he's making himself look more guilty somehow, like by making these lame excuses, and he really didn't do anything. Like, I mean, all he had to do was be honest and be like, "Oh, that was a stupid, whatever." But he can't do it because he doesn't.
That does come up, like the whole being honest about it does wrap itself up by the end of the episode, but also. Going back to like the phone thing, like phones are so important in 1999. Like you did leave a message for your girlfriend or your wife and hope they would call you back. Or you check your voicemails or whatever, like now we're all in constant contact with the entire world all the time. But like the phone is a phone and a voice message was a voice message. Like that's how we live.
It is kind of crazy.
It seems so funny.
It's so quaint now to be like, oh, I called and left a message. Like, I mean, remember Swingers?
Because you weren't home. Where were you? You weren't home.
Yeah.
That's it. I don't
know where you were, but you didn't. But like, remember Swingers, like the scene in Swingers where he calls the girl like 5 times in like a row and whatever. And he says, I called you because I knew you weren't home. Yeah. Which was also a joke that Jerry Seinfeld did about like you call people because you kind of hope they're not home and then they pick up and you go, I'm just going to leave a message. But yeah, it's such a funny, it's almost as awkward as that Swinger scene where he's just rambling on and on about like why he was with this woman who he didn't know. And he hasn't done anything.
Right. Yeah. You have nothing to feel guilty about except for covering.
Right. Well, that's part of it too. We'll get there in a minute, but I do want to bring up when they're checking out of the hotel and there's like they said, please sign here, which is also, I don't know. I haven't been to a hotel in a while because I guess Airbnbs and stuff I get. But like, when you're checking out and they hand you the piece of paper and like, please sign here for the incidentals. Right. And
right.
It's like 276.
They still do that.
That's good. But there's like, and he's like, what is it? It's like $200 something. And he's like, oh, what is this? It's just a couple phone calls. And then Jeff is there and Jeff goes, oh, no. HBO is taking care of the porn. Don't worry. And Larry's like, oh, no, forget it.
It's something like $300.
Yeah, it's close.
It's like, it's like even more than that. It's like $345. It's like, and then the HBO guy, the gay HBO guy is there. And Jeff is like, you're going to take care of the porn, right? He's like, we'll take care of the phone calls, but
we got the room.
He's like, I gotta make a call about porn. And then Larry's like, kind of like he does it a few other times, like, like, no, I'll pick up the check or whatever.
Yeah,
no, I got it.
He wants this to stop, and Jeff
he's like, no, I just don't want to talk about this anymore.
And Jeff is like, why waste the money? Why are you wasting? It's just so funny because he's going on and on. There's no subtlety here. It's just so funny. HBO pays for the porn. And then finally, like, because he's trying to tell the woman, like, I'll just pay. And he's like, and he finally tells her, shut up. He just, which really cracked me up. He just says, shut up. That's such a great, when you tell someone to shut up, you are really like, you're mad. So
yeah,
I love that bit.
Yeah, you definitely.
But like
mad.
That must be based on something, right? Did they make that up, or did they? Do you think that happened?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I could see that just being like a good way to write a joke, like, because what are the funny situations? Like HBO is paying for everything, so like you remember the equivalent of like getting invited to go to something and there's an open bar. It's just like use that as like they're paying for your hotel and stuff. So like write in that Jeff is like the pervert and he's getting a mistress and like a bunch of porn and like make them pay for it.
You know?
It's a very 1999.
Well, it is. You're right.
Joke.
I mean, like,
you know what I mean? 1999 joke.
I guess I never really made the connection about Jeff with the mistress and how, like it's for him, it's not. It's just like, whatever. Of course, they're going to pay for it. You're the.
And like he's the manager too, so he's going to be like, "No, HBO, you pay
looking
for
out
it.
for his
You
client."
know what I mean?
But you're right; it is kind of
the reason I even got the porn. The reason I even got the porn was I assumed you were paying for it. Like I'm getting the lobster when HBO was like paying for the meal. You know, like whatever. Like
if I'm at a place,
I got all the porn. Too.
if I'm at a place like you said, open bar, I'm gonna get scotch. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get a Miller Lite.
Yeah, if it's
you know what I mean,
that,
like or something.
Especially from, I'll say it this way: for people like us from our humble beginnings, we are hardwired to take as much, and you like, I'm not even talking about you like deals, but we're hardwired to take every single advantage out of every situation that we find ourselves in, where there's like I'm gonna get the best food, I'm gonna get the scotch, I'm gonna get the Johnny Walker or whatever. It sucks for me because that there's I kind of cap out on how many Cokes I can have tonight. You know what I mean? Like but I can get 3 lobster rolls or from the whatever, you know what I mean? So that's how I take advantage, but we're hardwired.
I mean, I feel like Larry, probably that same night, right? When Jeff went out dancing with the mistress, he says, I'm going back to the hotel. He probably just said, all right, I'm here. My wife is in LA. I'm in New York. I'm going to watch a little porn. But I'm sure he never thought it would come up. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't want HBO to pay for it. He wants to just be done with it.
Oh, Jeff?
Well, Larry just wants this to be over with. He doesn't care. Because with Larry, that's the thing that always kind of separated Curb. And we brought it up a couple times. Because we know Larry has money. It's not the money. Right? Like, we know he is rich.
Yeah, he doesn't want to talk about it.
He doesn't want it to be a thing.
Yeah.
Or it's like when him and Jason Alexander are fighting over how much tip, the tip coordination, right? It's not about the money. He doesn't want to be shown up by leaving less than Jason Alexander. It's not about like, geez, I can't believe you left that much money.
Yeah, right.
So in this situation, it's the same. It's the same thing. He doesn't care. He would have paid thousands of dollars probably, but he doesn't want people to make a big deal about the fact that he ordered porn in a hotel room. And he said, shut up. So,
yeah.
Anyway.
I can make a call right now about the porn.
That's what the guy said.
I can make a call right now.
Don't do that. Like, don't tell them. But it's one of those things. I mean,
like what if that is like that scene with those 3 guys in the hotel, like, like we always say, like talking about the other episodes, like what was just like improvised right then, or like what was
obviously
scripted, like so it's always hard to tell, which is why it makes it so funny. But like that's why I was kind of like pointing to like that scene where they were showing him the stage and stuff, is because that's a whole concept where you're showing Larry the thing and he doesn't like it.
Right.
That could be, maybe the script is just that long.
Well, because they obviously
but that person has
the props.
Like
I mean, they had the props. Obviously, that was ready to go. But like, they were like, "Here, you're going to show you this, and Larry's not going to like it, or whatever." You know, I mean, probably all.
And how the people eat shit and like give you like, so that if you've never seen this before and it's 1999 and you're like going like, oh my god, like that poor girl put all this effort into this thing, and the way she plays it is so like I said, like the steeds of the show, like it's how they play it and how they improvise, and they give Larry back, or they like take Larry's shit or whatever, and just like, oh no, we want Larry to be happy. We want Larry to be happy.
Right.
Like all of that stuff is just it's still so golden.
It is.
It's like right here.
And it's a very LA thing. I have very, very minor experience. I'm not saying I know anything, but there is this sort of like, Larry is the star of this situation. And these people, these sort of minions have to like kowtow in a way, you know what I mean? Like, and
even if they've like spent weeks building this diorama or whatever, if he doesn't like it, it's like those behind the scenes, like of the prequels, when you see George Lucas come in and all these artists are like running to show him like all the ships and creatures they drew, and he's like, nope, don't like that. Oh, I like this one. Make this one better. But like they've like sunk their whole heart into every single one of the hundreds of creatures that they made, and he like picks 2 that he likes.
And here he is.
It tells you what he doesn't like.
He was rich beyond like everyone's wildest dreams, and like it's taking these little people who make so little money compared to him, and I mean that's just how it works. But these people run the whole industry. It's all run by the little people, but they don't get to make any real decisions or anything like that. But it's a great scene.
Or they like pitch ideas and the artist doesn't like it. It's great.
So we have this great scene now though where he's back, he's meeting Cheryl, he's talking to Cheryl face to face about what went on, and she's like, "What were you talking about?"
I swear on my kids' lives.
Well, okay, I'll get to that in a second. Because, well, all right, we'll talk about it now. Did TV Larry have kids? Like Curb Larry. I'm talking TV Larry.
Oh, Curb Larry, TV Larry, I think doesn't have kids. And if I'm going to propose no prize throw at you, not as an explanation, but not as an explanation for the plot hole here, but say that this timeline's TV Larry has kids in their Cassie Dave. They're the kids that he has in real life. In this timeline, he has those kids, but they're not Cheryl's kids. They're from his ex-wife that he has kid. But when we get to Curb Larry, if he had kids, it would have been way more.
They never appeared ever. So I think you're right. In this, we're talking multiverse, right? I guess, right?
Yeah, in this timeline, it's the only way to explain anything that makes sense.
This
now,
Larry,
actually, and it's kind of a bummer. We used to have that.
This Larry.
We used to have that in our back pocket as comic book nerds. Now everybody knows it. But this timeline's Larry, which is very similar, the spaghetti or the split off at the TVA or whatever.
Larry 616 has kids. But I think you're right, because Cheryl does even say on your kids. She doesn't say on our kids. She says on your kids'
lives. Yeah, right.
So, but anyways, I mean, that was a thing I thought about. I love that explanation. No prize to you.
Yeah, I thought about it too, and I didn't think we were gonna even mention it, so I didn't write it down. But I'm glad you brought it up. It being a first-time viewer of this timeline,
which is very similar to the main timeline, but Larry has kids in the other one, I guess. So it is funny though, because like these. Yeah, he has to keep bringing up swearing on his children's lives. He's like, I don't want to swear. But there's a funny thing. So Cheryl is like, what is this? And like you said, he doesn't want to throw Jeff under the bus. But she's like, what were you talking about in that voicemail that you left? And he's like, oh, this guy from college. And he tells the story, the same story, but he doesn't say Jeff. He says this guy from college.
He obscures Jeff and just thinks it's like, it's like LA to, like, it's a 3-hour flight, but it's like, if you're in showbiz, like, you do some stuff in LA. Well, he lives in LA. Most of his shit's there, but he's trying his material on the road. So he has to go to New York where he did start his stand up or whatever. So he can be like, this guy from college, or like, not that whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. It's like, they went to New York. Yeah, of course he's going to run into his wife's friend in Central Park. As much as you try to avoid people in a city of millions of people, you're going to run into somebody. So, he's like way over explaining to Cheryl. It was just this guy. And he's trying to cover for Jeff.
But he's also trying to get himself off the hook because he doesn't want her to think that he was having an affair. And so she's like, so you're not having an affair? And he's like, no. And honestly, I think she probably thinks, who would sleep with this guy? Like, you know what I mean?
You said that before,
I don't mean that in whatever, but like, I have said that before, but I mean, whatever, physically, not even going there, but like, he's so like, you know what I mean? Like, she's probably relax. I don't think you're actually sleeping with this young blonde, which he told her she was in.
And it's like your college friend's girlfriend. He keeps saying it, like, because that's what Larry says. It's my college friend's girlfriend. But the way he says it is all like sneaky style.
He just makes himself sound more suspicious.
It causes
if he had just
it causes doubt.
the funny thing is, like, if she already doesn't like Jeff, if he had just said it was Jeff, I don't think she probably just would have believed him flat out. But I think he's trying to get her to like Jeff more or not hate Jeff more and whatever.
And since this is the 616 version or whatever, like, they don't have, like, the Cheryl Susie thing doesn't exist quite yet.
Right.
Whereas, like, them teaming up against Larry and Jeff equally, like, because the Cheryl that's with Ted Danson would definitely tell Susie about Jeff and the girl in Central Park, even if it was through Larry. Like, so we don't know that Cheryl and Susie have that relationship yet, but I think that Larry doesn't want to tell Cheryl because of that potential. She's going to rat him out. He's going to rat him out to quote unquote Susie.
Yeah,
because girls be protecting themselves that way,
I didn't create this. Do you remember Mr. Graham? Did you ever have Mr. Graham in junior high? Did you remember?
Oh yeah, we've talked about it before. Yeah.
He used to say he used to say,
rest in peace.
I didn't make this up, but he used to say telephone, telegraph, tell a woman. That was one of his sayings.
No, that's very Roger Moore
forms of communication. So if you want something spread around, whatever. But that's what Larry's trying to avoid, and I guess, and it fails.
And I remember, and this is absolutely the truth. We had an alternate universe version of that joke where we said telegram, like graham crackers, because there was so many of the Grahams. Brenda Graham, who I'm not going to mention by name, Brenda Graham, who had a crush on him. And she said I had a cute Cosby sweater in 7th grade. Brenda Graham, if you're listening out there, I've been with my partner for a long time. You can't have me now. You could have had me in 7th grade. But anyways, we would say our alternative version of that was telephone, telewoman, telegram. Then it was like Graham, as they would say in England. Graham.
Well, that's.
I love you, Brenda.
I did.
Don't rat me out.
Oh yeah.
Don't rat me out.
It's like
to Cheryl.
30 plus years later. But so Larry, right. But he won't swear on his children's lives that this woman, like Cheryl says, he swears that he's not having an affair. And she says, do you swear on your children's lives that this is your college friend's girlfriend? And he won't do that because that is a lie. And he's like, I don't feel comfortable swearing my children's lives.
And then you get to season 10, Larry, and all those two guys are doing is lying all the fucking time to their wives.
Larry, yeah. Larry's divorced by the time they get to season 10. But
he is divorced, but you know what I mean. Like, all Jeff does is lie to Susie and cover up his affairs. You know what I mean? So awesome.
But then we get to the sort of the denouement here, as they say, where Larry goes to HBO
film term,
and he tells a story about his stepfather getting in an accident. I can't do the special. Well, first he goes to this sort of like, I don't know, like a lighting thing or whatever. I don't know what this was, but they do the Mad Magazine thing like behind him. And he turns and looks at it and he's just disgusted. And so I think that's the last straw. He goes to HBO and he says he can't do it. And he tells this story.
But also, little precursor, way earlier in the episode, he's leaving. Jeff and Larry had just gotten out of their first HBO meeting, but they're at the probably the Seinfeld offices or like Larry's office, and there's somebody else there that like worked on Seinfeld, and he's like, "Hey, where are you going?" And he's like, "Oh, I'm going to the thing,
Oh,
to the
right,
wake,
right.
like our
I forgot about
friend's
this part.
dad, our friend." And this was a very like not like sometimes like jokes specifically remind me of you or a conversation we'd have just because like we love this stuff so much. But I think like of you as my Larry David sometimes because he was in a, I mean that entirely complimentary. But he's like, didn't you hear like Fred's dad died? And he goes, it wasn't his dad, it was his stepdad.
That's right.
And he's like, well, we're all going to the thing. Come with me. We're going to the wake. He's like, Larry's like, I don't think I could be around mourners.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. And so he doesn't end up going to the thing, but the other guy goes.
After telling him he wasn't going to go.
So
that's the funny thing. Larry's kind of thinks, I think, that he's sort of sold him out, you know?
He's like, he's like, well, Larry thinks he's convinced him not to go. He's like, just don't go. Like, just don't go. Just don't go.
Yeah.
And then he runs into that guy Fred at the airport right after he buys some gum from the convenience store at the airport, and he goes, "How much is that?" She's like 65 cents. So then he's fiddling around with his gum again for the second time in the thing, and you run to the guy whose stepfather had died, and he's like, "Yeah, I'm sorry I couldn't go to your thing. He makes up some excuse. He's like, "What really hurt, Larry? You didn't call or anything."
And what's his name? The other guy, he like sent flowers, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't get the flowers?" He obviously did not send any flowers.
Yeah, well, he's like, Cheryl was supposed to send the flowers or whatever, and then he's like, also like, I don't know if he like offers him the gum, but he's like, no, I'm all set. I don't want any gum. He goes, how much do you think this costs? Because like, I think Larry has the like just like surprised by the number 65.
He's surprised how much
like
gum.
65, 36. How much do you think this costs?
That is definitely.
So he uses this stepfather excuse to the HBO people, even though it's not totally not true.
Yeah, he doesn't have a stepfather.
He's taking this other guy's story, which is also something they would have done in the series.
Yeah, it's something they probably did do. I don't know. I don't remember every episode.
They did like variants of a lot of these jokes.
He used it when his actual mom died, if you remember that, years down the road. And he kind of used that as an excuse to not go to places like, you know what I mean? Like, they were supposed to go out to dinner with someone, and Cheryl just called and said, "Oh, so Larry's mom died, so we're going to take some time with that." And Larry's like, "That was genius!" Like, so he used it for everything. so yeah, he goes into HBO, and like, there's two executives there that they met earlier. They were from the beginning of the episode, and the woman is like, "Oh, Larry, sure," and she hugs him, and she's like, "Yeah," and the guy's like, he's very suspicious. And he's like, well, yeah, you know, we put a lot of work into this.
And he also calls him, he doesn't say his father. He says his stepfather. He's like, my stepfather's in a coma. We got to go down to Florida and check on my mom and whatever. And like, who even knows, like, this is what I was thinking if you talk about this variant of Larry with the kids or whatever. Like, if you worked with someone, or even because someone's such a celebrity, like, how come you don't know if they have like both their parents are alive, or if they have a stepfather or whatever? Like,
well, I guess,
you know, because if you didn't have a real there's no internet Wikipedia who are these person's parents thing back then. But, you know, like, you run the risk kind of in Hollywood of like having someone be like, no, he doesn't even have a stepfather. Yeah. You know, like, it's just like the fact checking could be done pretty quickly.
This is what I was, this is my one little issue with because this is the end of this is the end of the show. Like, right. This is the end of the pilot, the end of the episode.
Right. This is the button.
This is the button. This is getting out of the thing.
There's no special.
Right.
That it's written like a 1 hour movie. There is no special that leading up to it, which is kind of like a big fucking tease to the audience watching the movie for the first time.
Yeah. I kind of wanted him to get caught in the stepfather lie, but it's okay because the point is Larry does get out of stuff, sometimes. So I guess it doesn't matter, but
at any point, if you maybe at this point while you're watching this movie for the first time, and maybe kind of you're keeping an eye on how long or how much is left. I don't know, but like it's not really relevant for this. But did you think that you were going to see them have the third act be him shooting the special, or like did you think that at all?
I didn't think that. I didn't really think that.
But
I did think that like somehow he would just, even in like the next scene, or he would go down, and somebody would be there and be like, "What's stepfather?" Or someone would walk in. I don't know, Lewis like or somebody, you know what I mean? Or somebody walk in.
Yeah, Lewis or Cheryl would be like, "No, you don't even have a stepfather, or he's fine."
Yeah,
Lewis or somebody would blow
or
him
somebody
up.
like, or like they call Cheryl or whatever, and they're like, "Hey, sorry about Larry's stepfather," and she's like, "What are you talking about? He doesn't have a stepfather." I guess the funny thing was that the HBO guy said to him, like, "Larry, swear to me you're telling the truth." And he says, "I swear on my children's lives, I'm telling the truth."
Right.
He wouldn't do it about the other thing.
Make that concession to Cheryl.
But when it's about him, he'll do it. He'll lie about that.
And he's like, death, it's part of life.
Yeah,
and,
I know.
We're lucky to be alive. Like, he's repeating all the stuff that his friend in the airport had said to him. He's completely ripping off the story, which they also do a lot.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, I'm going to take this thing that seems
well, it
to
is
work.
kind of
like Leon did that a lot,
right? Well, it's kind of the thing about stand-up comedy, right? Like you're taking things and using it, but Larry's using it in his real life.
Oh, it's
you know what I mean? And which is kind of the thing that I did a little like, looking into it on ChatGPT again. And that's kind of the thing with this. Like when you go to see a stand-up comedian, the audience is sort of signing on that you're going to hear sort of uncomfortable truths. You know what I mean? The comedy, the comedian is going to say stuff that know is true, but they're going to say it in a funny way. And it's all, you're a part of the act kind of in that way. But Larry using this stuff in real life, like you're not part of the act. You know what I mean? This is your real life. There's no agreement between him and everybody else in the world that they have to be on board with his stuff. But I don't know. It just cracks me up. Like that. It really is brilliant, right? That they merged all it in that way. And I guess I'm not saying I'm disappointed that he didn't get caught in the lie, but I feel like as Curb went on, that's what would have happened.
Well, the pattern of this show, which is like besides the talking head interviews with like Jerry that they cut in a couple times, it's pretty much the same format.
Yeah.
And like the breaking the fourth wall with the camera, like having it be like, what we do in the shadows, like a little bit,
right?
Like for this, but then you just kind of, you don't really notice that when you're watching Curb, like the camera direction is still very like mockumentary, but they don't like recognize him,
right?
Like it's still like very much like this is what's happening in this person's lives, and just different like that.
Yeah.
So,
well, there is one more funny moment I guess I want to bring up. So that same kid who had worked on Seinfeld, that he was supposed to call the guy from Warner Brothers, is working the desk at HBO, and he's like, "Oh, you didn't get the job."
Right. So this is after the whole fallout of how because Larry had, like we mentioned before, like did the phone call that didn't go well. Then he did actually write the letter, but he kind of like he wrote the letter that in a way that's like not the I'm sorry, but it's the I'm sorry if I hurt your feelings.
Yeah, but not taking any responsibility
like what
for being
right. Like I'm sorry that I hurt your feelings. Not I'm sorry that I did that.
I'm not taking it. Like this is not a take backsies. This is and So this kid is like, what you wrote? Like apparently you wrote like this insulting letter, and like the kid could not fathom how this went belly up for him.
Yeah, he's like, He's like, well, and then it's kind of the ultimate insult too, because this guy is like a receptionist, and Larry's like, will you validate my parking for an hour?
He's like 1 hour.
And he's like, and the kid is like all pissed. He's like, great, I'm fucking stuck here at HBO, and it was funny because like when they're like walking through the hallways, it's like all the '90s like HBO TV show. Like there's like a big poster for Arliss and stuff. Like they probably filmed it at HBO. You know, and like they probably just literally did that 100%. And like he's like, oh yeah, you must be miserable here or whatever. It's like, why didn't you get the job? You know?
Well, it is funny though, right? Because I mean, so he worked as a they said at the beginning he worked as like a writer's assistant on Seinfeld. And then he was working at HBO, but was he always the guy at the desk, or was that somehow a dip? Like, I wonder if that's why he was like, "Oh, this job sucks," because he was working not as in creative anything, he was just a guy.
Yeah, I guess you're right. Like he's a writer, and the only time that Larry runs into him is when he's at the desk. He asks him, on their way out the first time, and then he's like trying to get to the bottom of it at the end. And then,
I think when they first run into him, he's just like at the elevator. They don't really know. I think he assumes he's working in some sort of creative capacity, but maybe that's it. Like maybe he's not. Maybe he's always just the low man on the.
He's like, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
It's like,
and again, that's what LA, again, there's a lot of people in LA who want to be in the business, but the only way they can be in the business is to be, doing a job like that and keep applying or whatever. I don't know.
Right.
I don't know.
Right. And it's like party down. Yeah. It's like, you have to, you're an actor, but you gotta work at the catering company. You got to work reception at the desk, or like in hacks or whatever. And he's like, you insulted him on the letter, Larry. And it's like, that's a lot, you know? And then
did you think of
Larry's like, it's a blessing that you didn't get that job. That guy seems like a jerk.
Well, did you think of Goodfellas a little bit when you heard that? When he says, you insulted him a little bit, you insulted him a little bit with bats. Just before they killed bats.
I didn't, but I do now.
I wonder. Yeah. I mean, it sounded like that. It was almost the same sort of cadence. It's like, you insulted him a little bit. You insulted him a little bit. You got a little out of order. Yes, no.
But also, it ends sort of in a way that like a Curb episode would end. It's just, this is Larry, being Larry, and he's just gonna go. He's gonna leave the HBO office, and some ridiculous shit is gonna happen to him on his drive home that he's mad at the way someone's driving, or like it's just very much. It's Curb. Yeah. It absolutely is the pilot. It's not such a big stretch from the series, but it's like they're like, let's do more.
Well, yeah,
and then they started the first season.
I know, it's true. It's it is basically like, hey, if you're on board, this is what you're in for. If you want to watch the show, but I don't know. Like I said, this is kind of like, it's what Seinfeld, the original concept, and then like Seinfeld did evolve over time into like less about the stand-up comedy. In fact, not at all about the stand-up comedy by the time they got to the end. Just these four people in weird situations. Right. And then like this is probably what Larry's vision was at the beginning. And then Curb became, Curb, Seinfeld without network influence. And they even did stuff like when they would pitch shows on Curb. I remember the ones with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. They were like pitching a show for Julia Louis-Dreyfus, and he was like, "Oh, it's HBO. You can swear." Like he really was happy that you could swear on HBO and stuff like that. So like, but like in the network offices, pitching stuff, pitching ideas, just like like the scenes we had here, and it's pretty much what it became. But there's little changes, but like obviously, it evolved like everything. It's kind of just this ebb and flow. It's really pretty cool when you think about it. Like I think we said this on our last Curbcast. Seinfeld started in like 89, I think. And then it went all the way through to 98.
So.
Yeah. And then this picked up in 99. And then I guess regular Curb must have been around 2001. And then it just ended. Like, I mean, that's like decades of this
it's
comedy.
a whole lifetime, you know,
it's crazy.
Like, and it's so crazy. And then, before we get anything near final thoughts, there was a character in a small moment I wanted to mention, and I don't know if I think that maybe I suggested it to you, but I don't remember if you watched it. But there's that Office spinoff, The Paper.
I did not watch
The Paper.
No, I didn't.
Paper.
The Papers. Yeah, the paper.
I absolutely think that you would really like that show. It's really funny, and the guy, Jeff and Larry, are having dinner outside at a restaurant. They're always having dinner. They're always getting some meal. But this guy, his name's Alan Havey. He's actually in the paper as like the CEO of the newspaper. It's not a paper company, it's a newspaper. And this guy is just kind of like we were talking about in our Last Action Hero episode, like he's just a guy that you've seen in a million things. And I was like, oh my God, there's the guy. He's in, I can't believe it. That guy, I recognize him. He's in the paper. He's like one of the main characters. And he's the one that's trying to buy Larry's house.
Oh, right.
But somehow, Jeff is like, why do you want to move to the Valley? And like, so basically he's like, we saw your house. We really want to look at it and everything. And then Larry's like kind of mad because he's looking at Jeff, like being like, why are you trying to convince him not to buy my fucking house? You know,
it is
so
great.
It's just like a small little thing, but I only dropped it in there because of the paper. I think people should like it. They're like good comedy sitcoms. It's a good one. It's another mockumentary style, and it's got Holding for Hugs, guy from The Last Jedi. The guy with red hair, he's like the main guy in that show, and he's actually
that guy is pretty funny. I'm not going to hold Last Jedi against him there, Hux.
You can't hold that against anybody except for Ryan Johnson. His fault.
I guess it's true.
But he's good. And if you're looking for, it's like 8 episodes or something. Right. So it's like, we're looking for something short and funny to watch that's in that world of The Office, you know, Parks Rec, that kind of thing. You know, it's a good one.
Yeah. Is that Tim Meadows isn't on that?
It's on.
It is on Peacock. Yeah, I know that. I don't know if he's in there. I might be.
He's
a different
not in
show.
That.
I think I'm thinking of a different show.
But Oscar from The Office is like the one carryover from The Office.
Well, if Tim Meadows was on it, I would nod at him if I walked by him in the hall.
There was another time too where he's like, "How come you didn't nod at her?"
Like, "Oh, she was too fast."
Like another. She was too fast.
I mean, it's that. Like I said, that one scene set the tone, and the whole thing sort of sets the tone for what Curb became, and I am glad about that. You know, it's funny to see. A lot of times when you watch a pilot or something, I can't even watch the first few.
It's really different.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, this isn't that good. You know, show's not that good. But you know, this one really did. Maybe it's just this is what we're into, but like, it really did. Like, you know, set the tone, and I'm glad. I'm glad I finally watched it. Thank you for.
I think it's fun to, like, you know, like it's like a reflection almost, and because you hadn't seen it, which I didn't even know that. I just assumed that you did. But
sorry and ashamed.
After doing the Curbcast, it's like, no, don't be, because it's even better for you to watch it with fresh eyes. Like when we watch a movie that I've never seen that you guys have been freaking out about of your lives, Die Hard. you know, like and it's not like, and that's a lie. Not like I'd never seen Die Hard. I just never really cared to pay attention when it was on. It was on in the background. I absorbed some of it, you know, but I really sat and like watched it. But yeah, so do you have any final thoughts? Do you want to grade it?
Oh,
Should we grade it?
Oh, geez. Again, I mean,
Grade it. I guess you grade it. I guess for this, and if it comes up later, grade it as a pilot, and that could mean anything. Like, does the pilot kind of go into what the show is going to be, or like, is it a good pilot even though the show changed after that? And like, yeah,
it's hard. Like it's funny, but it's not like ha ha laugh out loud like kind of funny. Although there are a few moments that I thought were really good. I mean, but I guess like I want to give it an A, but I feel like that's like tough because I don't think it's an A. It was, there's a couple things they were still finding their footing. With some of the bits, like I said, I feel like if this was later Curb, they would have caught Larry in the stepfather lie easily. You know what I mean? And maybe they did,
or something else. And even if it wasn't the stepfather lie, it would be the girl in the park lie, and it would be in the very last 2 or 3 minutes of the show, and you'd be like kind of worried for Larry, even though. You know what I mean? You'd be like, "Oh fuck! I can't believe he got caught on X."
Yeah, or
thing.
like Jeff's. Right. They would run into Jeff's mistress somewhere, and she'd be like, "Oh, I had a great time the other day," or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
something that would lead to Cheryl.
That's how they would write. They would write that in.
It would just be like the last scene. Then you'd get the credits, and he would just be like, But
it would be like Cheryl and that girl from New York, like her friend, being in the lobby of the HBO offices when he went down the elevator and being like,
"What?"
Yeah, oh
my god! But whatever. It's still a solid B, I guess, or a B plus probably. I think it's a step below the A level, but I mean Curb. I'll say Curb got better, but this was the style of humor. Yeah. So they did a good job.
And it was also, I think, a grand experiment. Yeah. Like, they didn't even know what was going to come up before they started working on this. And then they're like, okay, let's do more. Let's do more and do it this way.
Yeah, we have to kind of put that in perspective a little bit, right? Like, there was nothing like this. I mean, even Seinfeld wasn't like this. Like, the documentary style thing and whatever, like, yeah, you're right. There wasn't much like this.
And then I mean, like, even honestly, like the British Office wasn't until 2001, so it was like kind of ahead of its time, and not like there wasn't like those great Christopher Guest movies, and it's not like a mockumentary for comedy is like completely original, like, but this was still like. From all the media consumption we have now, which is like reality TV mixed with mockumentary mixed with whatever, like it's still like kind of they weren't the first to do it, but they were before The Office UK, which like sets the groundwork for every Parks and Rec and whatever from there.
And like this was kind of especially like following around this guy who is not a lovable character, This was always,
which is what
that was always a thing with Seinfeld, like especially at the beginning, like make them more likable and whatever. And as Jason Alexander says at the beginning, like there would be something that would happen to George, and he'd be like, "What is this? This wouldn't happen. If it did happen, people wouldn't react.
There's no way someone would react
and
this
Larry's
way."
Like, this is that happened to me, and this is exactly how people reacted. so
and then that's what Jason Alexander says too. He's like, from that day, like that, point on the TVA timeline was like, from that point, that's when he just tried to give his best Larry David impression in his work. And honestly, like as silly as it sounds, like I think that Jason Alexander, like is one of those like serious actors. Like he's very much like about the craft of acting, and he hasn't been in a ton of things, but like he takes it seriously. That's why he was like, we need a rewrite on this. And he's like, no, that was me. And he's like, oh, okay, I'll just play it like that.
After that he's like, well,
thank you.
I don't know what I'm talking about. That's not exactly what it is, but yeah, okay, like this is where we're coming from. So yeah, I mean, but
yeah, I just have to believe.
I mean, we like him, but like, I think you're not really supposed to necessarily like Larry or identify with Larry, especially in 1999.
And this is why, I wouldn't call Curb a divisive show, but like, I think anything like this, or like Curb, or It's Always Sunny, or Tim Robinson, or Tim Heidecker, like those are all things that I love. Those are all things that Stacey cannot stand. Like she doesn't, and she has a sense of humor, right?
Sure.
Like, so a lot of people like that. They're like, I do not get that. Or they like Friends, but they don't like Seinfeld.
Right. I was just going to bring up Friends as like a show, which was the opposite, where it was all hugging and everybody learning and all the characters like, kissing. And Larry was no hugging, no learning. And that, it's
no lessons.
Right. It's a choice. I mean, I like the Larry version. Yeah. Some people like Friends, and that's fine. You can like both. It's not one or the other. But
I don't think Friends is terrible. But if I'm gonna rewatch Veep and Arrested Development and Curb and and Parks and Rec and The Office maybe, and like there's so many things that I would watch before I put on Friends.
Oh, me too.
Yeah, like there's just too many good things to rewatch.
I agree,
but yeah, some people really don't like Larry David, but we've dedicated a podcast to him. We went to see JB Smoove. He said we had a cool name for our podcast. This is on Curbcast right now.
So go listen to all our Curbcasts. But I didn't even. You have to grade it as well.
I have to grade it as well, and I think that you're right. Like, no, I said you had to, so you can tell me I have to. I mean, I kind of want to give it an A, but maybe you're right. Like, if I were to like, it's tough for me to like be really objective about it, but it's probably like a B plus. It's not as good as like, and you were right to clarify. Are we watching Pants 10 or are we watching this? Like, I think Pants 10, which is season 101, maybe we'll get to it someday, who knows? But like, that's maybe an A, putting this at a B plus. The only way I could do it is like compare it with something else. So like, I love it. I think this pilot is so funny, and we're blessed that it even happened to get all the other stuff. So, but it's not like, it's not laugh out loud, but I saw the bones of what they were trying to do, and what they did was not that different than what they gave us in the pilot, which is for years, for 25 fucking years. And I just think that observation I keep making about like how that girl reacts to his ridiculous set, and he just doesn't like it, but that's like how people react to him all through the series. Like, no, Larry, like you either have to do it this way, or like they have to like, they have to play cool. They have to play a straight man to Larry and Jeff and JB or whoever. Like those like sort of extra players are what make Curb special. All the different side stories, the guy at the laundromat, the this or that, just like the soup Nazi in Seinfeld. Like those things make up the whole universe of what this is, and their reactions are just as precious as like whatever funny things they came up with as a concept.
Yeah, and I mean, like back then there was no YouTube. You can actually find like Larry behind the scenes footage, like blooper reels and stuff of Larry laughing, at some of the other, like he loved. No, I mean on Curb too, like Larry laughing. It's like some of these bit players or whatever, like they were like, oh, if you can make Larry laugh, then you've really done something. I remember Bill Hader saying that, like, oh man, I made Larry laugh. Like, even though you're breaking character and you're kind of ruining the take, but like it's.
I think I did a search on TikTok for Curb last night, just to like, I was like, Curbcast pilot, like maybe there's something like a behind the scenes that maybe there's something there. And the first thing it gave me was Bill Hader and the goulash. And I was like, I watched the whole thing, and I watched it like twice.
I mean, it is great. Like he played all those characters, but yeah, like, and there's
he played his brother and everything.
But they thought he was the same guy, weren't they? Like, wait, what's that?
Yeah, yeah.
But there's like a great story of like Putty. What's his name? Well, why am I'm blanking on the guy's name. Whatever. The guy who played Putty. Yeah, the dick. And he was just like, he was going to be a 1-episode guy, or whatever. And then they were like, oh, Patrick Warburton. Thank you. And they just thought he was so funny. They're like, no, we got to keep writing this guy in. He's too good. Like, he's too good. And I think that's the kind of people that Larry and Jerry are. Like, if it works, we're just going to keep putting you in. And it happened on Curb too. But yeah, you're right. These little people, I don't want to mean little people, but like these smaller parts, but they have to react. They're actors. I mean, but they have no script, and they just have to react to whatever Larry is doing. You know what I mean? So it's probably not easy.
And how they do it is what makes it so funny. Yeah. Like, because there's like, it's just so funny how she has to completely eat. I keep talking about the same scene, but it just seems like perfect Curb to me. Like, she's eating shit. Like, no, and she's like, no, it's no problem that we have to put this away.
I know, they're kind of like,
like, it's no problem.
I know. Here he is saying, if you had a Smith & Wesson, you could just shoot me right now. Like, that's his reaction to all your hard work. But it means clearly he doesn't want to do the special anyway. So it doesn't really matter what this woman did. It wouldn't have made him happy. But anyway, but you're right. As far as like the person playing the role, like, they have to eat it. Yeah, they have to take it. So, and they did a great job. So thanks to you.
Well, I'm so psyched you got to see it for the first time.
Me too.
And I'm psyched to come back with this definitely is a special edition Curbcast. Yeah. We don't want our Curbcast fans to be out there without any new content in 2026.
I know. It's been a while. So
it's been fun.
Glad we got some. We'll have to do, since it is the 25th anniversary, maybe we'll have to do a couple of the old episodes, because we didn't pick it up until like season 8 or something like that. So
not a lot of people around here in this group, but if I were to put it up for a vote, we just do.
You want to?
We roll
you
want to
go one
and do just do Pigpen, because why not? It's so funny. And there's more phone etiquette stuff in that too, because they're like, remember everybody had a cordless phone in their house.
Yeah. Well, all right.
We got to call those.
We'll discuss. We'll discuss that one, but
we'll discuss. We'll vote each other. We'll vote against each other. In the board meeting. We already had it. No, this is stupid.
It's tied 1-1. But
and then you go to ChatGPT.
Yeah. Which episode should we do?
Hi, ChatGPT.
Well, but anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Always a pleasure, Clay.
And we can't forget, if we're going to sign off, see you at the club.
See you at the club. And go back, before we do that, go back and listen to all of our Curbcasts, listen to all of our League podcasts. We also did a What We Do in the Shadows podcast, the Vampire Council. We did a lot of podcasts.
Who knows? We might even have special editions of those this year. Who's to say?
We'll vote. But,
So we're going to put it
LeaguePodcast.com.
Thanks for turning the...
Yeah.
Yeah. And YouTube and Spotify. Follow us wherever you can.
And thanks to you for doing that. And yeah, see you at the club.
See you at the club.
One thing about Hitler that I admired is that he wouldn't take any shit from magicians, you know? Hitler was a big fan of magic, and Hitler would go to a magic club, and he'd watch the show, and afterwards he'd go backstage to talk to the magician. He'd go, it was a wonderful show, and I was just wondering, I was talking to my friend, where's the rabbit? I'm sorry, mein Führer. I'm really glad you enjoyed it, but we're really not allowed to tell about the secrets. You know, they're tricks. We're not allowed. Yes, I understand you're not allowed to tell, but just tell me, where's the rabbit? Mein Führer, it's a union thing. We just, where is the rabbit? You will tell me where the rabbit is now!